I've been here for months, but 7,500 feet still kicks my ass a bit. So I'm having a lovely hike around the Galisteo Basin. And you're about to watch a podcast where, shocker, shocker, Alana cries again, at the beauty of the love shared between, she calls him Paulo, and Hada Vanessa. They're a sexy couple. They're a heartfelt couple. And as they share their love story and their own internal evolution and their evolution with psychedelics and the alignment with my evolution, it just brought me to tears to watch them so committed, not just to themselves and each other, but to the impact they're here to make, the legacy they're here to live together, and how they're better together. And then just as I was driving here, another dear friend, we got our master certified coach certification together, Matt Helm. He's gonna be back on the podcast. He has a new book coming out. But he and Larissa, his wife, so windy, I'm sorry, sat down in the new year to write out their intentions as a couple and how they support one another and how they're here for humanity and how they're weaving together better than ever. And this is what I personally am taking to the next level this year, 2026. It's not just who am I in partnership with them, who are they with me, but who are we for the world? And stop being so shy of what I really want, what I really feel capable of co-creating. So let this podcast awaken you and already planting a seed of who you want to share it with, and enjoy this incredible couple. This episode of Intimate Conversations is lovingly sponsored by Jeanette Skincare. If your skin has been asking to be treated with reverence rather than chemicals, Jeanette creates high vibrational, plant-based skincare that honors Mother Earth and your living cells. Their formulas focus on calming inflammation and supporting true healing without compromise. So visit JeanetteSkincare.com and use my code INTIMATE15 for 15% off. Now let's drop into today's intimate conversation. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Season 14, Dark Night to Divine Light, because we both know intimacy is an inside job. Hello, delicious people, and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations, Season 14. It's amazing. This season, we're calling it From Dark Night to Divine Light. And I have an incredible couple with me today, Paul Hutchison and his wife, Hada Vanessa. They are partners in life. They are partners in purpose, and they are united by a deep commitment to service, conscious partnership, and human healing. Together, they lead the Child Liberation Foundation, supporting work that's contributed to over 70 undercover rescue missions across 15 countries in the fight against human trafficking. Paul is an executive producer in the film Sound of Freedom, which helped bring global awareness to the realities of child exploitation. They're also the founders of Santuario, a sanctuary dedicated to deep personal transformation through sacred plant medicine, experiential training, and holistic healing. Through Santuario, they host monthly relationship retreats and rebirth retreats that integrate somatic healing, biohacking therapies, and trauma-informed workshops to support emotional release, embodied healing, and deeper connection, both individually and as partners. You can find those links over in the show notes. So today, I have to say, the last time I saw the two of you, it was dark. You were in the car. You were dressed as Santa.
Yeah. That's right. We were coming back. We had done we were here in Colombia, and we do a gifts of healing every year for children that are in safe houses and orphanages, and children that were stuck in child trafficking, and others that were at risk. And this one that we were on the way back with you, there was 127 children that were special needs kids.
Oh, wow.
That were in a special home, that we got to be Mr. and Mrs. Santa and bring them gifts of healing. So it was super beautiful.
It was super beautiful. Sometimes it's that little smile that you can bring to someone's face, you know, and we take it for granted, but it means so much to them. They're so overlooked that sometimes people even feel uncomfortable looking at a handicapped person or child, you know, so it's really fulfilling.
Ah, it's curious. I didn't think we'd start the conversation out this way, but I'm remembering being in a hot tub with my son. I think he was about 13 at the time, and a Down syndrome boy and his parents were in the hot tub, and the boy was fixated on my breasts. And he came across the hot tub right towards me, and I just gently took his hands and I sort of put them together in a prayer. And I didn't shame him. And I just said, it's so great to see him. And my son was watching me not get judgmental or blame the parents. And my son, just like clockwork, said, hey, do you want to get on the water slide together? And off they went together. And I was so proud of him that he sees
Beautiful.
beyond those behaviors to the soul of someone. So I hear you.
I think the key word that you gave there was being able to release judgment. And and this is kind of deep as to what our mission is, but I recognized after 10 years of undercover work and 70 plus missions, I recognized that just pulling the children out of hell was never going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
We needed to heal humanity. We needed to pull the hell out of the adults is really what's going on. And a lot of that comes because we don't understand where the trauma ends up if we don't fix it. I realized that most of the people who were selling me children were trafficked themselves as kids. Most of the people who were committing these crimes had heinous things that happened to them as children, and that doesn't justify their behavior. No,
Right.
I tell people, don't get me wrong. I've literally put my life in danger hundreds of times to protect the innocence of children.
Yeah.
But if we're really going to fix this, it's more about healing. It's more about taking a step back and saying, okay, why does somebody get to the point where they would inflict harm on another human being, especially a child? And when we take a look at it from that perspective, then we remove judgment to the point where, yes, I'm going to make sure he goes to jail, but I can do it from a place of compassion. And a lot of what, for 10 years of undercover work, we rescued about 7,000 children. However, now under my wife's leadership, the foundation is helping more than 10,000 children a month in preventing them from being trafficked because of her certification programs, her educational programs, the programs that stop trafficking from happening at borders, et cetera. This is all because of the creativity and the ingenuity of Vanessa and her seeing beyond just the smash and grab life that I was a part of and going in and rescuing the kids. And so it's just changing perspective that healing really starts happening.
This is beautiful.
Without taking any credit, that if it wasn't for the smash and grab, we would have no idea that this was happening to children,
Yeah.
So
Every step of this journey, and I've only just begun to get to know the two of you, but I watched a webinar that you led, Paul, and you were explaining your own life journey and how there was the surface and then underneath and then underneath. And then to me, I've been doing this work with intimacy for 20 years. Hurt people, right? And so my own wounds would lead me to be shallow, seek safety on the outside, seek approval on the outside, use men, just save me, get married to me, make me feel good enough. Like that was me, 30 years ago, and all the deep inner work that I've done to take ownership, do my own work, and then be the safe place for my clients to come to me without being shamed for the decisions they made based on their wounds. And let's allow that. Let's not, as you said, condone that. But if we can be an allowance, we can go under to the root cause and heal that deep trauma, which is why I love that you use the sacred plant medicines that can get us out of the secondary consciousness into the primary consciousness and really heal it. Amazing. Would you share for a moment your own life journeys on how you met each other? Like, what were your relationships like before each other? What did you do to find each other? Because it's all a frequency, and I can feel it. I can feel it.
Here's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
Okay, this is better than building companies and undercover work.
Okay.
So Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is the actor who plays Superman, right?
Oh,
The
okay.
the nice chest, the big,
Yes.
that Superman, right? So Henry was at her work almost every day for like what, 3 months or so. They started to date. Nothing big in public. They went on like 2 or 3 dates, but then she met me. I stole Superman's girlfriend.
Oh my goodness, that is a claim to fame.
There's my mic drop.
Wow. What was it about him versus Superman that took your heart?
His heart,
Yeah, right?
his heart. You know, I was determined and I was committed to being a dog lady, and I was okay with that.
She wanted to grow old with dogs. She didn't like cats, but dogs.
Not a
She
cat
she
person.
didn't want them.
Okay, I'll forgive
I
you.
like
I have
that.
a cat. It's fine, but we'll still.
We have 2 cats, but
Yeah, we have 2 cats.
Okay.
But, the dogs, they bark and they're like interact more. So I need some action in my life.
Okay.
So I used to always joke around and say, in order for me to find a guy the way I need a guy in my life, I need to
Yeah.
take about 10 of them and put it in a blender, and maybe I can find what I'm looking for. And then Pablo showed up. He showed up out of nowhere.
but I have to tell you how this happened.
Yeah.
I created her.
How so? How so?
So here's the deal. So Tony Robbins, this is a true story. Tony called me and he's like, Paul, hey, I know that there was a certain celebrity that I had some connections with that he thought would be good at one of his big UPW events. And so I said, yeah, I'll call him. And sure enough, this guy wanted to come, bring his son. So it was kind of cool. And so we this is back when I was 10 years ago, I wasn't Paul Hutchinson. I was Paul fucking Hutchinson, right? I had built a multi-billion-dollar company. I had 2 helicopters, a plane. I had 50 plus vehicles. It was retarded. And
Wow.
I had a house with 10 bathrooms, 8 private suites, 7 fireplaces, 3 kitchens, a basketball court in my basement, and a full DJ booth and a stage with stripper poles on my stage, right? This is in my house. I had built a multi-billion-dollar company, and this was the energy that I was in at the time. And I wasn't happy. People think that money makes you happy. No, I was in my second marriage, and we were fighting every single day. It was horrific and it was like burn the house down fights. This wasn't little things. It was freaking, I was ready to just flip a match and burn it all down while she crashed the car and says, F you. And this is this life we were living in. And so I went to this event that Tony, we were front row. Kardashians were sitting behind us, right? That's how good our seats were, right? And so sit in front row, and there's a part in Tony's event where he has you identify something in your business that's not quite where you want to be, and has you write down in detail what it would be like and what it smells like, what it feels like to drive that car or have that success. And I realized I've used this method of manifestation in my business life, in my philanthropy life. I've never used it in my personal life. I had never really taken the time to write down exactly what I wanted in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And so I had, by this time, and we'll go back later in the conversation about how I got here, I had done some big inner work at this time with some of the plant medicine stuff. And we'll talk about how that changed, because I would have never qualified for a relationship with Vanessa, with the man I used to be, right?
Yeah.
So I had done some of the inner work, and I was starting to recognize really what I wanted. And so I decided I'm going to write down my relationship with. So I wrote down my relationship with, and I wrote my wife's name down. And this is how she shows up and this is how my wife, but I was putting her in this box. And about halfway through, I got this overwhelming feeling that the universe, God just said, Paul, you can create anything you want in your life, but you cannot affect the free will of another person. If your wife chooses to be that woman, if she chooses to change, that's her prerogative. If not, don't hold her to it. So I changed it to the woman in my life. This is how the woman in my life shows up for me. This is how I show up for her. This is how she treats my kids, how I treat detail, detail, detail. That night, Alana, that very night, I found out some things that over the top of what had happened for the last few years, over the top, I sent a text to my attorney and I said, I need to file for divorce by tomorrow morning. This is over. I found out some cheating things that were just really dark. So anyway, less than 2 months later, I was in Haiti. Now, Haiti isn't the place you meet the woman of your dreams, right? I had done 12 undercover missions in Haiti, and sadly, I was at a funeral for one of my undercover operators. And it was the last time I would ever be in Haiti. It was a rough country. And standing in the line on the way in the airport, on my way out, I turn around and there's this gorgeous, I tell people meeting a beautiful Colombian actress is kind of cool, but when she's donating her time at an orphanage in Haiti, that's really cool, right? So she was standing behind me. We started talking and literally everything on my list that I had written down, everything. She was. So I tell people, I just decided, I just created her. I just wrote it all down and she showed up. Now, I should have put on there that I didn't want somebody from New Jersey that drank beer and said fuck all the time. Other than that, she was pretty much everything I wrote down.
He got what he asked for and plus.
A little spice. Yeah.
You know what? To what he's saying, it was incredible because he showed me that letter that he wrote.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, if I were to write a biography about myself, I wouldn't be as accurate as he was in that paper. It was crazy.
Wow.
And it was beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm hearing your words and I'm also hearing behind the words. That's what I've learned to do with myself and my psychedelic somatic integration journeys and with my clients. And I know that it's way more than just writing a list, although that is required because we're in human form on a planet. But the amount of wounds that created your life, Paul, the amount of wounds that created my first divorce, my second divorce, that was what was subconscious, that I didn't understand what was going on. I'm a cum laude graduate of an Ivy League school. I'm super smart. Couldn't figure this shit out for my life. How could somebody so kind and intelligent keep attracting really unhealthy relationships? So when I started to do this inner work, it was humbling. It was terrifying. There was a lot of self-loathing. There was terror to integrate. There was a lot of self-forgiveness of how I was attracted to the abuser. Will you please love me this time? Will you please value me this time? I was doing that. And I had to forgive myself, integrate those hypervigilances into a place of quiet and calmness so that on top of oneness, alignment, stillness, those words could actually manifest in reality. So to the degree you're willing to share, who did you, Paul fucking Hutchison, meet when you went inside to do this deep psychedelic work?
I've always liked the phrase hell is when the man I am comes face to face with the man I might have become. And even a deeper level of hell is when the man I am feels the pain of anybody that I had caused that pain of. And my first experience was the most beautiful, horrific experience of my life. Horrific because I literally felt in every cell of my body, I felt the pain that my children felt when I cheated on their mom. As if I was them. I was on the ground, just I could feel it. And then I could feel the joy of the children that we helped to rescue. But then I felt the pain of, even the ripple effect. I felt the pain of some guy who had come to one of my parties and got drunk and slept with a cheerleader and his wife leaves him. And then a year later, the ripple effect of those actions where his his daughter gets abused by the wife's new boyfriend, or the son gets on drugs. And the negativity of the ripple effect of my actions, of me thinking, oh, well, that was his problem. He got drunk. He slept with the cheerleader. It was his son's fault. He was the one that got hooked on drugs. No, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been living and supporting a life of debauchery at the time. And so it was hell. I couldn't even breathe. It felt like I had a foot, like Satan himself had his foot on my chest, and I was 600 miles deep in the dirt, and I could barely breathe. And it was so difficult. And I had to change the playlist to be able to come out, and I could feel this powerful hand pulling me out, and all this shit falling off of me, and this love that was flowing into me. And then I actually asked myself, Paul, have you learned your lesson yet? And I said, well, maybe not. So I changed it back to the song that was really
dark one
that was taking me there. And I took myself back into hell on purpose, because I needed to feel that. I needed to feel that. And it was actually 4 different journey experiences before I met Vanessa, because one wouldn't have done it, right? One wasn't enough to fix my shit. There was so much there. And me and some of the other men and we were operators. In fact, how I got called into my first one was a phone call from Jimmy and Andy. Now, I was blowing through undercover operators. I had Green Berets with 300 missions in Afghanistan, the Middle East, that one undercover mission with me, seeing a menu with faces and prices, it sent them over the edge. They just couldn't handle it anymore. And so Jimmy had done 13 missions with me, and Andy had done 23. And they were the ones that called me on the phone. They said, Paul, do you trust us? And I'm like, yeah, I trust you with my life, literally. I'm in charge of talking, you're in charge of making sure I don't die when we're out there. They said, you need to come to this healing retreat. I said, I don't need to heal. My actual words were, I don't need to heal. I'm Paul fucking Hutchinson. Everybody wants to be me. Right? So I told them. They said, no, you do need to heal. You're on your second marriage, headed for a divorce. Your kids don't even talk to you. You think that happiness is going to come from one more car, one more plane, one more party, one more girl, even one more rescue. That's not going to create that happiness. There's something inside of you that needs to be repaired. And so I'm incredibly grateful that they saw that in me. And then we held each other accountable, because at that time, one of them was cheating on his wife. The other one had a goal of sleeping with 1,000 women before he got married. And I mean, this was the energy that we were in, and we were all super broken. But we had a facilitator who, fortunately, she kind of hated rich white men, and we were all rich white men. And we hired her. We paid her $100,000 each.
Good.
To hire her full-time for a year to fix our shit, because she knew the medicine. She wouldn't take any shit from us. And finally, Andy repaired his situation, has a super healthy marriage today, and Jimmy fixed his, and I qualified for a relationship with this one. So that's how I got here.
One thing, and then I want to ask you a question. You knew to go back into the dark. This is literally the subtitle of season 14, Dark Night to Divine Light. So many people tippy-toe into a little bit of pain, bypass, gloss over, and where's my next girlfriend, car, social media, whatever it is. I want to know what in you knew to go back in, because you had free will. I'm wired. I think I'm a little wacko. Like, I love the shadow. Give me the darkness, because I know if I stick with it long enough, personally or with clients, every time makes me cry. We get to the light every time. But if you bypass, it almost compounds the darkness. So I'm so honored to go as a facilitator myself on these journeys. There's not a shred, there's not a molecule in my being that doubts that we're going to get to the light. I know we will. But we got to keep going. We got to surrender. We got to be brave. What the hell in you knew that? And you must be exactly the same. Hada, if you're a couple, you must be able to face the darkness too. You must be.
Well, the catalyst was my undercover work. in seeing the darkest part of humanity.
Yeah.
I think that if I had gone into that, the psychedelic journey, if I had done that 3 years before,
Yeah.
I would have said, "Oh, screw that." I'm on this. I'm super happy just being me and having these parties and whatever.
Right.
But I had seen the darkness of an unhealed soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had seen the absolute worst part of humanity where people who allowed their addictions, their sexual addictions to control them, go down this super dark road and do horrific actions. And I saw the pain that all of humanity, if we don't fix what we need to fix, that's the end result. And that was as dark as you can possibly imagine. And so having seen that was a big part of the catalyst, and me recognizing, I'm just going to put it this way, me recognizing that darkness in me. Okay, now don't get this wrong. I've never done anything illegal. Of course, I've never been attracted to a child. However, what happens with unbridled power, and what happens with egos that get out of control, is that you think, well, look at me, I'm so powerful, I'm so whatever, and I can sleep with whoever I want to, and pretty soon that's not even enough. Maybe now you need to have a little bit BDSM in there. Maybe you need to, maybe your pornography gets a little bit harder. You need to look at rape videos, and then maybe that's not good enough. Now you need to look at a little bit younger, a little bit. So I saw where these guys ended up in the pit of hell. And I recognized that the traffickers and the perpetrators, I thought I was going to see guys with earrings in their noses and tattoos on their necks. No, I saw a businessman, well-dressed, that was making money at this horrific trade. The common thread throughout all those missions wasn't tattoos and earrings. The common thread was arrogance and greed and lust. And when I looked in the mirror on the medicine and I said, Paul, how is arrogance and greed and lust showing up in your life?
Thank you.
And that said, okay, whatever, I'll go through hell if I have to. I got to fix this shit.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Hada, this is the heart that you fell in love with, huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know anybody that has risked or invested so much of their life into other people, children that never saw him, never knew who went out there to get them or not. I grew up in New York and everybody minds their own business. So to meet someone that gives so much of themselves, without expecting anything in return, for me was I'm an empath. So I felt that, I felt that heart, and that's really what attracted me. And because he's so smart, and I can dig a smart boy. Oh my goodness.
She's a sapiosexual.
Yes, I am.
Yes. I get that.
For a long time, everybody thought she was dating.
Oh, yes. Do you know Dr. Reed from Criminal Minds?
No.
Oh, he's a geek. He's a nerd.
Okay.
I'm in love with him. I was so obsessed. I would post things. I've never met him. I would post things online and dedicate him things. Like if he was my boyfriend, and nobody knows. It was good for me. But, yeah.
Beloved ones, I want to pause for a moment and speak directly to your skin. So many of us were taught to fight our skin, to strip it, correct it, fix it. But what if your skin wasn't broken? What if it's simply inflamed or overwhelmed or asking to be listened to? That's why I'm so honored to partner with Jeanette of Jeanette Skin Care. Jeanette crafts high vibrational, plant-based formulas with uncompromising integrity. Every single ingredient is natural, intentional, and chosen with Mother Earth at the forefront. Their philosophy is simple, yet it's profound. When you treat the root cause of skin issues, inflammation, the skin can calm, balance, and brighten itself. These products are not about harsh intervention or quick fixes. They are about healing damaged skin cells, protecting living cells, and allowing your skin to remember its own unique intelligence. So if your body and your skincare are craving that skincare that feels aligned and clean and deeply respectful, I invite you to visit JeanetteSkincare.com and use my code INTIMATE15 to receive 15% off your order. Your skin is not a problem to solve. It's a living ecosystem to be honored.
This medicine is beautiful. For me, like I said, I grew up in New York, and I had my daughter very early. I had her at 21, and while I went through to college, I bartended in New York.
Yeah.
And I this is for me it's an important part to mention because you see a lot of happy people, but the happiness is outside. The happiness is being seeked in, you know, in the nightlife and the who I meet and how much I show off. But because I'm a empath, I feel people and I feel them a lot. And for me, I had a child at home, so I was there to make quick money because I was doing college while I was bartending.
Yeah.
And seeing the disconnection
Yeah.
of people and life, and then doing the medicine and feel I had never felt a connection such as when we did the medicine. The first journey was with Pablo. And it was beautiful to be so grounded without any onion peels, without any worries. And I mean, usually also because I'm from New York, I don't worry much about what people think, but this was another level of just connection and grounding. And we've done about 85 ceremonies. No, we have done 85. The second ceremony we did it with our daughter, and she had been looking all her life. She wanted to be a doctor. And then she started, she went to college and she was like, no, it's not a doctor. Psychologist, no, it's not psychologist. Psychiatrist, no, it's not psychiatrist. She does, but she would always say, I want to heal people.
Yeah.
And the day that she did the medicine in the middle of the journey, she goes, this is how I want to heal people.
Oh, I have shivers. That's awesome.
And here we are as a family. I think it's such a gift of Mama Pacha to provide us with such beautiful medicines that can really bring us back to our core and who we are.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, beautiful story.
Yeah, our daughter now is a lead facilitator. She's 28 years old.
Wow.
This is almost 50.
29.
So that's pretty good for 50.
Pretty good for 50. I think so. My word. I'll be 56 in 9 days. So I'm a little bit older. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that
We're the
love,
same age.
that peace we have inside that keeps us young.
In the purity and the humility and also the unapologetic desire to be in devotion to humanity, I really think that is a radiance of love. Yeah. My dad was a pharmacist, stoned and drunk all of my life living at home. So I was very scared of drugs. And so I was always the designated driver. And then I got turned on maybe 25 years ago to my first ayahuasca journey with shamans. And I was very arrogant. And I went up to the shaman, well, I want a man and money and like successful and all of this, and punched him on kicked my ass. And he said to me, I said, I don't want to do the second journey. It was awful. He was like, could you fight the demons? I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, oh, you're stubborn, more medicine. I'm like, no, I don't want more medicine. So the second time I just said, just show me the way, show me the way. I was so humbled. And what I met was all these like gargoyle demons. And it was me, how much I hated myself. I was ashamed of myself. I was embarrassed. I was, all of these aspects. And as long as when they came to me, I said, I love you. I love you. They just sat down. And by the end, there was 10 of these demons that were aspects of me. And then the last one that came was me, like a human. But my hands were like this. I was still so embarrassed. I couldn't look people in the eye, but I was able to say to myself, oh, isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? And then that was the end of the ceremony. And I could actually look people in the eye for the first time. I had no idea that I would dart around, hypervigilantly, just terrified on the inside. So that was all the way back 25 years ago. Ayahuasca journeys for quite some time. But more recently, 5 years ago, I got myself into a relationship with a physically abusive man. And here I am, this intimacy coach, helping all these people find the one and save their marriages and all the rest of it. I was so ashamed I didn't tell anyone. Until about 10 months in, it got so bad, and I screamed so loud that the police came and put him in jail. And I said, I need help. I've tried everything under the sun. What have I not tried? And I was taught, it's Psychedelic Somatic Institute. Saj Rosvi is the head of education. And it was a way to stay tier 1 in the body, not tier 3 and leave. And I began actually 35 journeys of a low dose of medicine to stay in my body. And my body literally recapitulated being raped over and over as a kid, and I had just dissociated. All of the memories were gone, but my body showed me it, and then all the memories came back. The smells came back. The words came back. It was your fault. You made us do this. You like this. Just the mental craziness. And when my autonomic nervous system finally came back to zero, I forgave myself. That's why I attracted that man. And it wasn't just that man. It was also professional people that took my money that said they'd give me a return on investment and, left with my money. All these mistakes I was so ashamed of that I'd made. Oh, it was my subconscious programming that did that, not my conscious mind. And I was able not only to forgive myself, but to support my body. And now I can give this back to others and be that place where I don't judge another, because I've learned not to judge myself. So I just wanted you to know my journey.
What a beautiful story.
And I'm so proud of you.
It takes a lot to go through that.
Yeah.
And serve others and teach others because you know the road, because you've been there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, they, not only the second part of hurt people, hurt other people, but as I wrote in the Sound of Freedom book, right at the very end, hurt people, hurt other people, but healed people can heal the world.
Totally.
That's where you...
Yeah, that's why I feel such synergy and alignment as soon as I knew the two of you existed. And I'm like, oh, I love them already. We need to, to feature you to the world. And also let's see what other magic comes of our relationship. So to those people, and first I'll take it on a, lastly will be global, but first personal. To those that are in a relationship and the same ruptures are not getting repaired, the same drama, the same patterns, the same unfulfillment, what would you say? Because you have these beautiful transformational journeys down in Colombia. Like, what is possible for a single or a couple when they come to your retreats?
I think the answer is the same for both. You cannot expect love from somebody else or love somebody else more than you love yourself. And almost all of those problems come from a lack of self-love. And so even in our relationship retreats, we spend more time on self-love than we do other people love, because that's where it all starts.
I agree.
And so, and that's where it had to start with me attracting her. I couldn't attract somebody with a healthy relationship like her if I was still stuck in this view of myself, that my only self-worth came from my money, my things, my accomplishments. And no, I had to love me for me, not for the things I had done, but that just for the raw, just me, just love me for the good that I do, for the stupid jokes. You want to hear a stupid joke? This one, because I thought about this when you said about
another reason why I'm in love with him.
No, she's you guess which one I'm going to tell. So you said about the pharmacist. So this kid, he's dating this girl, and on his way over to her house, he stops by this pharmacy, and he goes in, and the pharmacy, can I help you with something? He goes, yeah, I need to buy some protection, some condoms. And the pharmacist says, well, how many do you want? He goes, well, my girlfriend's parents are going out of town, and I'm going to spend the whole weekend there, so I need a lot. So it gets a big box.
Bulk pack, yeah.
Yeah, got a whole bunch. So he goes to his girlfriend's house. He had never met the parents before, and they sit down for a beautiful dinner because they're going to be leaving that weekend. They sit down at the dinner, and he's sitting there, and the father says, "Son, could you say the grace on the food for us?" So he says this big, long prayer. At the end of the prayer, his girlfriend whispers and says, "I didn't know you were so religious." And he whispers back and says, "I didn't know your dad was a pharmacist."
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. It's true. This is not a joke. This is a true story. I think I was 16. My sister was 14. Christmas stockings, and we got magazines. We got the navel or the oranges and condoms. And my dad said, "Well, if you're a prat, you like sex, but if you have sex, you could die." And we're just like, this was like at the beginning of AIDS and everything. So you got to use a condom. We're like, Merry Christmas. Okay. That actually happened.
That's
But yeah.
right.
Funny pharmacist jokes. So good. So good.
That's right.
To that note,
Yeah.
I think that sometimes relationships, after a while, get monotonous and serious. And I think that we should never lose the humor.
Yeah.
You know, we should never lose that playfulness
Mm.
and that just organic, spontaneous way of being.
Mm.
I had that with my last marriage. Not the playfulness, the monotonous. Yeah. And I was like, I told Pablo when I met him, I was like, okay, when I asked, my list was like, okay, he's got to be at least 6 feet tall. And I just don't want him to bore me. Like if we go see the homeless people, he should be okay with that. And if we're on a red carpet, he should be okay with that and comfortable. And I just don't want to be bored. And then there was Pablo. And sometimes I have to tell him, mi vida, let's sit down for 5 minutes. Let's breathe.
It was funny. On one of our early journey experiences, the facilitator that me and Jimmy and Andy all paid 6 figures just to have her help us individually. One of the things I had her do is in between the journey experiences, I had her go and sit down with each of my kids, go to lunch with them, go to lunch with my personal assistant, so she could learn from their perspective what I needed to fix. I said, so when you take me back into that state of neuroplasticity, I need you to know what things need to be tweaked. Well, so one of them from all of her conversations, we continued having her facilitate for us when we got together. And it's a good thing because, we were still pretty headstrong individually. Well, there was one where she sits us down on a beanbag. She says, okay, today, Carl, you're going to practice or put you on the medicine, but the intention is for you to learn how to be completely present present in your conversation. Nice. So like 2 or 3 hours later, we were still sitting there on the beanbag, and I'm like, nothing else existed. Not the cars, the businesses, that nothing other than just us together.
Nice. And he says, sweetheart, I don't think the medicine's working anymore. And I said, Pablo, you've been sitting in the same bean for 3 hours. It's working.
You are being rewired, brother.
Right.
But isn't that the place from which spontaneity and humor and deep connection and authenticity and vulnerability and what it comes from, the everythingness of presence?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Literally, the doorway to everything comes through that 0 point.
Yes, exactly.
The doorway to the connection with everyone comes from that 0 point of releasing even your own connection to yourself, your own ego, just coming into that nothingness allows you to truly connect with everyone. To truly understand eternity, you have to go through that 0 point of the perfect now. Once you understand that all of history and all of the future all exist in that 0 point. Same thing with all of infinite space. Infinite space can only be understood by being fully present in this exact space in this moment. So that's one of the things that I practice in a lot of my meditations is connection with with humanity through that 0 point of releasing 100% of all connection, even to myself and that ego. And that's
Totally.
the only place that I can feel that true connection to everyone.
I love what you're saying. And to me, it's like understanding, but it's also like it's embodiment. Like you don't think to believe, you know, and it just is, and it's in your body. And that level of embodiment, and it goes, oh, the sky's really pink right now. You know how it happens with the sunset? It's like all the love colors for the two of you. So beautiful. Every moment, once you can be that, embody that, you can have these moments of complete connection, of like a gratitude that brings tears to your eyes when you're talking to your children, when you're with clients, like anywhere you are, you can have access to that level of intimacy. That's why I call myself an intimacy expert. I certainly needed to learn it to be able to teach it, but always be a student of it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk to you forever, but I need to honor your time. I want people, so we know to go to Santuario, retreats.org to learn more about these. We know childliberation.org is also how you can support these missions. Lastly, I want to complete with, I'm in total agreement that we need to heal the hearts of humanity. We need to go all the way back to the beginning. I'm doing my piece. You're doing your piece. Let's complete on, instead of the blame, what is your vision? I don't think we'll get there by the time we die, but we're going to give it all we got.
Oh, I think we will.
Right?
Well, it's funny. So years ago, when I first started doing undercover work, and the truth is, I was still Paul F. and Hutchinson then, but you know, I had special sets of skills that I could deal with those situations, and I had the money to fund it and all this crap. But I told people I'm going to eradicate child trafficking, and everybody came back and said, you know, you can make a dent, but you know, it's always existed. You're not going to eradicate it. Well, no, we understand this. The Sound of Freedom movie became the #1 independent film in the world. Hundreds of millions of children are safer now because of the awareness. The certification programs that Vanessa's putting together and are being implemented not only in hospitals and hotels, but they're being mandated by governments throughout Latin America in different areas. This is powerful. We're making not just a little dent, we are making a massive, massive impact. And beyond that, I truly believe that humanity is on the cusp of a tremendous transformation. For tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, humanity has lived in this cycle of fear-based energy that crumbles its entire civilizations and has to start over, but it continues over and over again. And eventually, I'm going to write a book called 10,000 Years of Deceit that talks about why we've been taught division, why we've been taught to fear, why they've denigrated the divine feminine, and how we live in this world that is you know, the wars and a lot of these things are pushed by the unhealthy masculine. And so I believe that humanity is ready. Humanity is ready. More and more people are awakening. And in this awakening, it only takes 3.5% of the population to create a global change. Within the Child Liberation Foundation, that was our goal, is to get to at least 3.5% of the population to be aware of these things and to have the tools so that we could create global change. More than that, Liberating Humanity, which that's, you know, you can go to liberatinghumanity.com, all of our social media is tied to that. It's a bigger picture. It is, if we can help humanity liberate themselves from their own childhood trauma, from these beliefs that keep them stuck, from any fear-based energy. And fear-based energy goes into everything from envy to pride to ego. A lot of this stuff and how we deal with each other. If we can just tip that scale and love infinite unconditional love, not a separation love, not a I need to be worthy to somehow finally get the approval from God love. No, the unification of humanity and recognizing that every single person, when you look at them in the eye, you are looking in the eyes of God. When you look at them in the eye, that is true divinity. And when you respect that divinity in others and in yourself, and see that unity that we all have, that oneness, I believe we are going to see in our lifetime what has been prophesied by all religions, that we're going to go through a time of turmoil and then we're going to come into a time of peace. We're going to see that peace. But God's not just going to come back and wave his hand and we're all going to be nice to each other. No, we have to do the work.
Do the work. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're going to see that. This isn't just a little, here's a journey here, here's a journey here. No, we are changing laws when it comes to the proper use of psychedelics. I've been working with people in our current administration. We've been friends with RFK for about 10 years. Some guys say, oh, I hate his guts. Whatever, hate him, love him, doesn't matter. The truth is he's going to help decriminalize some of these tools, allowing us not only in the United States, but abroad to be able to then come in and say, here's the proper use of these gifts from Mother Earth that help us to heal. Once we do that, I think we're going to see a transformation like nobody has ever imagined.
Aho.
Okay, so just let me cry for a second. So the sky is even more crazy pink orange right now. It's just, Earth is speaking back to us. I want to thank your partnership because you're with the divine feminine who's awakening your noble masculinity. And I'm still single, and I just don't have the energy to have the hope that you do, not even the hope, the knowing that you do, but I'm on the cusp. I do my work. I show up every day. I make my difference. But there's something about the conscious relationship that you have that I can feel what that would feel like to have a man as certain as you are in my life too, that has my back for the work I want to do. And then us coming together, the synergy and the alignment, because that's what I fucking came to the planet for. I'm not going to stop until, we're home. We're home, we're whole, and we treat each other, as the divine creatures we are. So,
So some 2 seconds of advice there. I'm going to I'll send you a text with the exact things that I wrote when I created Vanessa. It's in a positive present format. I achieve my relationship with the woman in my life is, and you simply change it to the man in my life and make it personal for you in each sentence and get super clear. People spend more time planning their next vacation than they do planning their healthy relationships. Right? Just all we have to do is do the inner work so that we can qualify to at least get in the same room as those people. And I'll tell you this. You don't find that relationship in a bar. You find them, she was doing charity work in Haiti, right? And so finding the places that somebody with that kind of heart would be a part of, and then getting super clear on this is how he shows up in my life. This is how he treats me at home. This is how he treats me in public. This is how I feel when we walk into a room together. This is how I feel about myself when I'm around him, and this is how I feel about him when I'm around him. This is in a positive present for me. I get super clear on that. And here's the crazy thing. God, the universe, knew that I wasn't happy all those years, but I never asked for what I wanted. I wasn't ever super clear as to exactly what I wanted in my life. And once I got clear on that, then 2 things happened. First of all, I recognize, okay, there are some things in here I'm not 100% on. I want a woman that's completely loyal. Well, have I been completely loyal? Well, maybe not. Okay, so I need to fix that about me if I want to expect that in her, right? So writing that out will help you look in the mirror and say, who do I need to be to attract that? And it'll get super clear and send that energy out. Everything is energy. Everything. Your thoughts are... Guys, this is talking to your audience because you already know this. Your thoughts are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Totally. Your words carry infinite flow, infinite energy. These words that we're talking about right now will be here in digital space and in the Akashic records forever. And in doing so, they create a ripple effect, and energetically it starts creating. It's not even the law of attraction. It's the law of creation. Yeah. Because we are co-creating with divinity on everything, every part of our life. So,
And one more thing, I think that it's important for everyone, man, woman, to fall in love with themselves first.
Has to be. Yeah.
Because many times we are like that movie, You Complete Me. What was that movie? Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And like social media and movies are always telling us that we have to find our other half. And I don't think that's so.
Yeah.
We are whole. And when we find somebody, because if we are looking for that other half to bring us happiness, then we are putting a lot of pressure on that other person.
100%.
Nobody should make us happy. We should be happy on ourselves, and then whoever comes into our life is going to come because we're going to attract that happiness because we are happy, and then you're going to be happy together, and that's going to be the cherry on the top. But expecting someone to make us happy is never the answer. It's always look for that happiness and fall in love with yourself. And that way you will attract that person that is attracted to the whole that you are. Because if somebody's going to complete you, then we got more mushrooms.
We got more work to do. One of my I've written 6 books, and one of them is called Finding the One is Bullshit. Becoming the One is Brilliant and Beautiful. So
yes.
I get it. I so get it. That's what I teach. That's what I live. And what's so beautiful about what you're saying, and thank you for texting me all of this. We must start with ourself, intimacy with ourself. Into me, I see. Do the work inside. Then be very clear of what you're creating. And then it's not 2 people together. It's like a figure 8, but it's also for humanity. Like it's for humanity. Right? The yin and the yang coming together, but it's not just 1 and 1 is 2. It's 1 and 1 is infinity. Because they come together like the 2 of you. And that's what I was feeling in my heart is like what I haven't asked for is the difference the 2 of you make in that partnership. Because just a partnership's not enough for me. It's for humanity. Yeah. So that just, I'm in training to the vibration you are. And I'm an empath as well, my sweet. And this has been a huge gift to my soul and to obviously everyone who's watching this podcast. So
excited to spend quality one-on-one time with you too. So let's explore what that looks like this year, and come into our retreat. We it would be beautiful for you to come and share your gifts with some people as well. That would be super beautiful. So
I will. I've already discovered that February I'm at another retreat, but it'll be after that, March, April sometime. I'll be there.
Let's explore what that looks like. That would be perfect.
Absolutely. Okay, all of you. Well, hopefully you've all got your tissues like I have. When this is over, don't just go off and get busy. Please take a moment and maybe get your journal out. Maybe take your shoes off, go put your feet in the earth and allow the energy, the wisdom, the insights, what's moved you in this conversation to move you. Because one little degree different by one little new step, just like a ship, 1 degree, your whole life trajectory just changed. Allow this exquisite conversation to change the trajectory of your soul's evolution. We love you. We care for you. Please, childliberation.org. liberatinghumanity.com. Did I get that right? .com. Santuarioretreats.org. All of it's going to be in the show notes so you can take the next step with these beautiful people. And from your hearts to everyone, how would you like to complete this conversation and this interview?
Aho.
Oh, thank you.
Which means, and so it is. Thank you.
So it is. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Incredibly grateful.
Thanks for being with us, everyone. We love you dearly. Thank you again to Jeanette Skincare for supporting intimate conversations. If you are ready to nourish your skin with high integrity, plant-based care that prioritizes healing, balance, and sustainability, I invite you to go to JeanetteSkincare.com right now. Use my code INTIMATE15 for 15% off. May you treat your skin with the same love and devotion you are learning to offer your heart. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. I deeply respect how vulnerable, which to me leads to credibility. You know, shining on and performing. We don't trust people like that. We trust real people who share depth, transformation, and then inspire us to take the same actions. So I love that I cried. I love that they inspired me with the depth of their internal work as a couple, but then the work they do for humanity. I'd like you to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast so more people can see it. I'd like you to go to Liberating Humanity and all the other sites that are in the show notes and follow them. Let the work they do in the world inspire you. And lastly, I'd like you to share this with a friend. Share this with a friend who might be questioning if this type of quality relationship is even possible. If being in a partnership where you're aligned with your values and your dharma, like your mission and vision on the planet, send it to someone so they can be inspired. And send it to someone who can see that, yeah, Alana's pretty friggin' amazing, but she's also a complete human. And so that my vulnerability makes it safe for them to perhaps reach out to me if there's some deeper inner work, integration work that needs to happen. If there's an exuberance, an unapologeticness, a feminine joy, a sensuality, mixed with that masculine drive to keep going. If there's anything that my embodiment can support a friend with, or you with, I'd love to see you in my calendar. I'd love to walk with you. And remember the Santuario, the retreats down in Colombia as well. I'm gonna go. So to see even more of how my brothers and sisters do this beautiful work on this planet. There's something about getting out of the head, getting into the body, feeling through what Paul so beautifully articulated, that he was going to pull out, but no, he went back in. Because the name of this podcast, the subtitle, From Dark Night to Divine Light, every time, if you're willing to sink into that shadow, be professionally facilitated, you will get through to the light. And that homecoming of 0 point, that still point of wholeness and embodiment is our birthright, and I believe what it's going to take to heal humanity. So Paul and Hada Vanessa, thank you for the work that you do in this world. I'm so grateful that I get to do this work in this world, and thank you for being with us. Take the next step with one of us so that you can heal deep to the core and be all that you're meant to be here on the planet. We love you. Mwah. Thank you for being with us on Intimate Conversations.